All right, gentlemen, how are we doing? Hope that you guys are good. How's your week been? I hope that you've been having an amazing week. It is Wednesday, and it is time for us to hang out again. It's time for us once again to get sharpened and to just kind of like come and chill and have some fun. Um, Give me 1 second. Let's want to make sure this thing is live. Uh, yes, it does look like it. All right. Well, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited just to come and hang out with you guys. I am not sure who's gonna join me this evening, but as usual, we just continue. Whether it's one or two or three or four, five, six guys, we just make sure that we get the job done. I might just be on here for 10 minutes, but that's all good. It's not the length of time, but it's maybe I've got something to say um, that will help somebody. That's my hope. That's my hope. Well, over the past couple of weeks, we had an amazing couple of sessions, and it was facilitated by Mr. Chido. Chidozi was doing those sessions for us, and my goodness, did we learn some stuff? Were we stretched or what? And it was just amazing. It was just amazing. So if you haven't had an opportunity to go and have a look at that or have a look at those sessions, I will encourage you to do so because it is titled that the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Why? Because all of us have an opportunity to show up in life. All of us have been given the opportunity to display our gifts, to display our talents. Um, and I want to encourage you to not hold back. Um, Now, one of the things that I know that really stood out to me during those sessions, those couple of sessions that we did, was um, it's time for us to act regardless of whether we think we are ready or not, because it's possible for you and I to be at a place where we feel like I gotta prepare, I gotta make sure that I am sharp enough, I gotta make sure that I know enough because I don't want to make myself look like a fool. And then 1 month gone, 6 months gone, 1 year gone, 5 year, and you are still preparing. And that was so powerful because how long are we going to prepare? How long are we going to wait to show up? How long are we going to feel like that our voice does not carry weight, that we cannot have an impact or an influence um, to those people that are in our world. So that was really powerful. And give me 1 second, gents. Um, for some reason, I can't see the session being live on here. Let me just double check. Give me 1 second. Oh yes, it is. It is live. Okay. All right. Let's go for it. Now, I really want to. If somebody comes on here, then kind of like we just continue with it, isn't it? And we will just continue to add to it. But the conversation that I wanted us to have this evening, or kind of like what we're just going to talk about this evening, is um, if you and I really believe that we are ready to show up, if you and I really believe that we don't have to wait for anybody's permission uh, to outwork the gift that God has placed in our hearts, to outwork my brother right there from South Africa. Let me have this guy right there from South Africa. How are you doing, my friend?
Good day, good day.
Good day,
I,
man. Yeah, good. Thank you so much, sir. I know that you are on holiday, but look at you. you actually just jump in here and you want to come and say hi to us right there from sunny South Africa. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's some nice warm weather, I can say.
Wow, wow. How's the holiday going? Going all right?
Yeah, no, it's going smooth.
Wow.
It's our anniversary today, so
I know. Oh man, bro, we are really honored, man, just for you to jump on here, just to join us. What? You're on holiday and it's your anniversary. Oh man. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, quickly.
no problem.
There's one line. Sorry, I just locked somebody out of the house, so I just need to make sure that they got the keys. All right. Yes, sir. But thank you so much for jumping on. It's really good to have you. And we kind of like I think I've made a little bit of a start. I was kind
Yeah.
of like just doing like a quick recap and just encouraging the guys to go and have a look at the session that we've done over the last couple of days, a couple of weeks. We were talking that was facilitated by Chidozi. It was an amazing couple of sessions, and I think it's worth having a look at that. But the question, the kind of like the direction that I wanted to steer the conversation in today is I want us because during the past couple of weeks we were talking about the importance of taking action. The importance of taking action, because you and me, like, we know we can come on here every week and we can have conversations and we can kind of like feel good about ourselves because we managed to so-called sharpen one another, and we exchange some sharp information, and it's like then we go back and we come back the following week and we just continue the cycle, but there are no tangible change or results that we can say, all right, my life is being transformed or impacted by these sessions because this has happened. And that's where we want to get to. And I believe, just in general, I believe we need to get to a place where we need to become men that not just talk, isn't it, but kind of like really take action. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done. Let me throw that in there. Because I mean, one of the things that I wanted to throw out there to us today is this. First of all, I want us to talk about courage, because I know that it's going to require courage for us to move. It is going to require courage. Why is that? Because most of the stuff there that we don't move on, or the areas that we don't take action in, is areas that intimidates us. It's areas that we kind of like we are scared to move. We're kind of like, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I think there are different reasons why we don't act, why we don't move in certain areas. I'm just kind of like talking from my perspective. But why do you? Okay, let me put it like this. Why do you think we don't move on certain areas? Why do you think we do that?
Yeah, I think there's lots of factors I think you can relate to not moving with your thoughts or your ideas, because
Yeah.
and I think a big one in today's society, in the way life is today, is time.
Okay.
We don't always have the time that we actually need to do things justice, in the way that even getting on these calls can sometimes be a challenge, because you might have the time slot in your mind, you might have it in your diary, but things happen in life and you might not be able to get on the call. So although you've set the time, you know that what the times are for the week, and even your commitment, if we think of kids going to school and how important it is for them to be in school, to not miss out on their learning.
Yeah.
when it comes to any exam and they missed out on things in class, then it's not fair on them, because the other kids in their class would have covered that work.
Yeah.
But if they make the time to be in school regularly and they're consistent, but if something happens, they get ill or they go for an operation, they will miss out. Then you have to catch up to get them up to speed.
Yeah.
And many times for us in real life, we can't catch up because the opportunity is gone, the time is spent, the months move on, the years move on, and we don't have that time element back, because time doesn't stand still, it just moves on. So I think moving forward, you have to have a concept of what time frame you want to complete something to enable you to move forward. And it comes down to a lot of planning, I guess, and dedication and consistency. But you can't move forward if you don't have the time to do things. And if you do too much, you run out of time by juggling too many things.
Yeah.
So is there a way to think about focusing what's important and what you'll commit to, so that you do have enough time? Only because you have free time as well to do other things, and you're not just overcommitted.
Yeah. Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
I clearly hear what you are saying, but I want to put a spin on that and just hear what you think. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. You say, like, one of the reasons why we don't move in certain areas or in certain things is kind of like just stuck. We don't move on it is because a possibility is that we don't have the time to do it. Now, my see on that when it comes to time is because when I think time, I think priorities. Yeah. So which means if somebody say to me, listen, bro, I don't have the time to do this specific thing, it means it's not a priority. Yeah. So I think then the question comes down to the reason why I don't move on certain things is because it's not a priority in my life. It's not. There are other things that are more important than this specific thing that I like to do it. I know sometimes it's not even about I like to do it. Sometimes it comes down to it needs to be done, but it's like there are other things that are more important, and I think that becomes then a challenge, because if we are a men that are overwhelmed by priorities, then that means like there are certain things that are going to be neglected. Not because I don't need to do it, not because I don't want to do it, not because it's just because I don't have the time. But how do we get around that? Because at the end of the day, it does impact our lives in one way or the other, isn't it? But I guess it does come down to what. Okay, let's take an example. Let's talk about something that is quite tangible. If I, for example, then say that, because remember now we are talking about action. We're talking about taking action. So if I'm failing to take action, for example, in let's look at my health, for example. Yeah. We can look at what I put in my body. I can look at my level of exercise, whether I sleep properly, whether I drink enough water, whatever the case might be. If I look at that in combination of where I am in my health, do you think that should be a would you say that all of that should be priority? What's your thought? It's not I'm just, because I think sometimes what we do, we just make an excuse. I think I think time, to be honest, I think time if I use time as a reason why I don't do something that is meant to be a priority, for me, I'm seeing it as an excuse. So that's just my thought. I don't know what you're thinking on that, because if something, because my health is a matter of life and death, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or quality
Yeah.
of, or at
Yes.
least it brings down to, over a period of time, if I continue in the same direction, not paying attention to what I'm doing with my body, then it will catch up with me, whether it will whether I'm 60 or 70 or 80 years, but it will eventually catch up with me, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like the fact that you mentioned the priorities,
Yeah.
because it goes both ways. And yeah, for me also, time is not an excuse, because you will make time,
Yeah.
but time is a constant. You can't stop time,
Yeah.
and on many things you run out of time,
Yeah.
and it's not always your fault. You might have planned for something, but it's actually over time and consistency that you can still get things done.
Yeah.
So when you run out of time, or there is no time to do something, you must still continue. And that's what I'm trying to get to, is that you can still move forward if you pick things up where you left it off, which
Yeah.
means you then have to manage your priorities.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you have to manage your priorities over time. So not a single day, not a single week. We're talking planning for months and years ahead. That's why we have calendars. That's why we have diaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was younger, I never used to stick or believe to a diary. But that was, I guess, before I was married or had children or had a responsible job.
Yeah.
And it comes back to, back then I didn't have the same priorities or responsibilities I have now.
Yeah.
So it's more important to have that consistency, that you know what your priorities are, and then work out the time that's needed over time to cover those aspects that's required to make a success of that and move forward.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
but I think moving forward is definitely what we should aspire to.
Absolutely.
With our health, we can still move forward even if we're getting older and aging, because we're up against the age we are, and we can compare not being healthy with not consistently looking at health over time for ourselves. And like you mentioned, sometimes if you neglect something, just neglect brushing your teeth for a couple of years and you'll see the consequences.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it can slowly creep up on you, but we have to be conscious that we must prioritize looking after our health, eating healthy, exercising, sleeping enough, getting enough rest, socializing, having fun, all those kind of things. And having a balanced life does require a bit of planning, but I think we should also get back to having more fun and having joy, because we can get very focused on priorities that might not be immediately urgent, or for the next person, for your boss, it's not a priority, but you make it a priority just to find out it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
So I think experience over time does help, and your experience will come through in managing things. When things get stressful, you can sort of manage things better because you got more knowledge and experience on dealing with different things.
Yeah. Now, have you ever heard of this? Yeah, I know. I kind of like just leading back towards what we were talking about regarding time. When somebody said like, when I find the time, it's like, it's like you can't find time. Find, but you're gonna pick time up somewhere on the floor, like find it like a find it like a lost coin, like a coin that you've lost, or uh, it comes down to whenever we prioritize certain things. Because now remember, we are talking about courage, because it will require us to be courageous in a specific area, to admit that, listen here, all right, I can say that in this specific area, the reason why I'm not taking action is because I haven't prioritized this specific area. I haven't prioritized my finances. That's why I'm stuck in this specific area. I haven't prioritized my I haven't made time for it. That's why I'm not moving on it. And I think when we get to that place where we are actually courageous enough to admit that, the fault is lying with me. The reason why I'm not moving on it because I need to make that area a priority. Then I think we will get to a place where we actually start to move in that specific area, and admit to myself, no, I'm just making excuses. If I'm really serious about getting my money sorted out, I will make sure that I prioritize it, so that I slot it in there in my 24 hours that I have in a day. It might sound a little bit ruthless, but at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Um, and even the way you put it earlier is, when you see things like, even in a long term, and plan properly, then, because if you are planning, then obviously you plan on things that you prioritize, isn't it? You don't just plan just to make, at least some stuff on a A4 paper or in a book. No, planning has got to do with, this is important, and we are planning and prioritizing things that are important to us. So I think we kind of like just have to be ruthless with ourselves, and I think that's one of the reasons why we don't see results in our lives, is because we are coming up with excuses. Okay, let me just talk for myself, gentlemen. Let me not let me not talk for you. Maybe you got a valid excuse, but for myself, I think I'm just making excuses. Many a times I make excuses, and I think I know when I make an excuse. I don't even think that we are unaware of it. I know when I make an excuse. I know when I have not given 100% on something, or at least 90% on a specific thing. I know when I've been dragging my feet, and then I come up with an excuse to say, "Now, maybe I got enough time to sort it out again some other time, or I'll come back to it," or whatever the case might be. But then you will see 2, 3 months, 5 months, a year has gone, and the progress is so little on that specific area, because I've been making it an excuse. But for me to admit that, I have to be courageous and not care. I know it sounds a bit blunt, but sometimes we care so much what people think, it really holds us back. I really believe that. And I think that's also one of the other reasons, maybe that's another thing that we can touch on. You mentioned time. And I think the second thing that stops us from moving and making bold moves and being courageous is we are too much concerned about what people think. What are your thoughts, sir, on that?
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
Because if we watch any adolescent or child growing up, especially at school, we watch our kids moving from grade R or preschool into middle school, senior school. They all go through different phases, isn't it? We see a big change with the kids who go to school for the first time.
Yeah.
They know their parents very well. The parents know their routines, and after the first week, they go to play with other kids for the first time, and they come home with totally different way of doing things. They have to be courageous to go to school. Some cry on the first day. They really don't want to be there. Some parents cry. They don't know how they're going to handle the kid that changes now.
They also cry.
They also cry, yeah. But it's courage that gets them through.
Yeah.
And teenagers, we find, even struggle if they in different groups and they don't know the people in other groups. They don't know. They struggle. And I guess in a world where everything is so much focused around fitting in.
Yeah.
What's your view as an individual of what you think of what other people might think? And it might not even be a reality. It's a concept you have to deal with and something you fabricate.
Yeah.
Trying to think what other people think of you. And I think courage is the only thing that enables you to say, listen, you can do this. As long as you don't think what other people might think of you. Courage means taking that first step, knowing that this is what you want to do, and you want participation, or you want to impact or influence. So you need courage in everything, and we find, I think we mentioned it before, where you plan ahead to do something and the day comes, everything's worked out. You got your time slot maybe for your speech, or you're doing a presentation and all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
You've done your planning and preparation. All you need is that last minute thing when you step on stage, is the courage to now do it. And most of the time you've got it all worked out in your head. But have you seen people give a speech sometimes and they've got it all written down and worked out? And they even start the speech and then halfway through they say, I don't think, I'll rather speak from the heart and I'm not going to read what I wrote here. So it's totally different to what I thought I was going to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, that takes courage, because their conscience is telling them, no, for this situation, you need to get the message over that you really want to get over. And that takes courage, that last minute account of knowing you're doing the right thing. So I think that's a much better way to be satisfied that you've delivered in the best possible way. But it does take courage. And I guess the more you are courageous, the easier it can become. And the more bold you'll be, and the more you will definitely grow, because you then don't take no for an answer, and you don't take negative feedback as personal.
Yeah,
that's it. All as growth.
Yeah.
So every challenge then becomes a positive instead of a negative.
Absolutely. It's all about perspective, isn't it? It's all about perspective, because, and it all starts in the way we think regarding anything that we are going through, because we are trying so hard to conform and fit into society, and that pressure of not standing out like a sore thumb. I think because when you try to fit in, you just disappear in the crowd, isn't it? But the funny part is this whole thing called life is set up in such a way, if you and I don't embrace our uniqueness, we will just disappear in the crowd, because we try so hard just to be um, be normal. And as soon as you try to be normal, um, uh, there's nothing that that draws people to you, because what will draw people to you is your uniqueness, the fact that you embrace that you are different, the fact that you and I embrace that I don't sound like anybody else, I don't look like anybody else, maybe a little bit like maybe some, but the thing is, I have a certain uniqueness that is linked to why I was born, the reason why I'm walking this earth. But for you and I to be able to step into that uniqueness, or to step into what we've been called to do, or to step into or embrace finishing our race, it will require courage, because sometimes it's hard to be the one that is kind of like looking like swimming upstream, while everybody's kind of like, let's go with the stream, everything is nice and smooth, while you going the opposite direction, doing and saying, and what is not popular, or kind of like you're kind of thinking is whether it's controversial, or whether it does not sound like it's like you're looking for a fight, or whatever the case might be. But it's just because each and every one of us are on a journey or discovering ourselves. And I believe the worst thing that you and I as men, or just human being in general, even for ladies, anyone can do uh, uh, is to neglect is to neglect our uniqueness, and kind of like just wanting to be like everybody else, because that means then that I will never be able to fulfill my unique purpose. I will just do what everybody else is doing. Now, because courage is a choice, I believe it's a choice, because we will always face an opportunity to do what's easy and to do what is hard. Um, and by human nature is like we kind of like, let's go with what is easy, because to go to go against, or to go with what is a challenge is, it will require some mental strength, it will require some courage, it will require a certain kind of a mindset. Um, so I do believe that it's something that we have to grow into. It is something that
Yeah.
we have to grow into, gentlemen. And I believe one of the ways that you and I can grow into being courageous is do the things that we are afraid of. Now, my question now to us right now is, when is the last time you've done something that scared you? When is the last time it's like the sweat is running down? Oh my goodness! It's like you feel like your stomach is going into a knot. Um, but when is the last time you've done something like that, where everything is just closing up, your chest is closing up, your throat is closing up, you are so scared out of your pants? When can you recall? All right, you and me are on here, sir. Can you remember last time when you did something out whilst you were afraid?
Yeah, I think doing presentations
Yeah.
uh, for big crowds is one
Okay.
area I think a lot of people dread. Um, but I had a lot of courage when I had the opportunity for the first one. But because I've never done a presentation before, I was always in the audience.
Okay.
And I went in with no prior training, because we had internal training. I think it wasn't a good move for me to not do training beforehand and
Okay.
work on those small skills that are the norms, because if you're not skilled in presentations or presenting, the audience, who might be 50% presenters themselves, will pick up on it quite easily.
Yeah.
Luckily, I did get some feedback afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a suggestion to actually brush up on some of the things that I did wrong. But I think it was still good to be courageous and just jump in there and start something that I've always had sort of a reservation for, thinking it's other people are better at presentations.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it came to my realization that what I have to present is worth them hearing, and it would be a shame if they don't hear what I have to say, that courage takes over. Even if I'm not 100% prepared, in terms of my confidence, knowing that I'm going to present with these 5 steps or this method, but just starting is the first step. Making a decision and not postponing it.
Yeah.
And what I find is, once you do that first step, the second, the third, the fourth step, all the steps needed to finish that presentation just falls into place.
That's right.
And if you can be spontaneous and couple that with experience, you will only improve over time. And if it becomes second nature, then I guess you can do presentations without even preparing. So somebody asks you last minute on the subject matter they know you're good at, you will be able to present, and you'll be moving forward with that concept. You'll probably have the confidence because you've done it so many times, but it needed you to be courageous all the times you were asked to do a presentation, or eventually you putting yourself forward, if the invitation is there. So in our construction year, we get, especially in the UK, we get lots of forums we register on, lots of conferences that are organized by different professional bodies. The whole supply chain gets the opportunity to collaborate. But we also get invitations to participate in discussions and presenting. And all they require is 300 words of what you will present, what your passion is, and what message you want to get across. And then you can book your time slot. So you book it 6 months in advance. But most people don't know exactly what they're going to present, but they have to accept the invitation and be courageous about it. So there's a cutoff date. So if you didn't have the courage and you build up that courage afterwards, you find yourself, it's already booked out. I have to wait now for next year.
Yeah.
So acting quickly on courage is also a good thing.
Yeah.
Because fine-tuning what you don't know will come, but taking the first step is important. Otherwise, you miss out.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really, and what you actually put, you just said there now is really the key, I believe, because action. When we act, because courage is not the absence of fear. Because if I'm saying I'm courageous, it doesn't mean I'm not scared. It doesn't mean that I'm not scared. If you say that you're courageous, it doesn't mean that you're not scared. It just means that you are moving forward in the midst of being afraid, in the midst of being unsure, in the midst of you thinking that, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make a mess out of this opportunity now. but you are still moving because you are courageous. While you are shaking in your pants, while I'm shaking in my pants. But the key is, courage does not require perfection. It does not require us to be even be able to be successful. But most of the time when we are courageous, because we are so much focused on how we feel at the time, that the feeling can either propel us forward or it can pull us back. So which means that's where, am I either going to be an eagle, or I'm going to be a chicken? You can decide which one you're going to be. And that's why we're saying that courage is a choice. But now the great thing about that is this: when we choose to be courageous, when we choose to be the eagle, when we choose to fly, even though we know that we might fall flat on our faces, if we decide to go for it, when you and I have gone through that process and we have the right kind of mindset, there's no losing for us. From other people might think that we've lost, but the thing is, if we have a right kind of a mindset, which is the growth mindset, I will learn the lessons, regardless of how I come out on the other side. If I'm moving courageously forward, all right, it went well, brilliant. Reflect on it. Okay, everything went well. But if I fell on my face, that one I was not sure I was supposed to do that. But all right, where did we go wrong? What could we have done differently? Why did it go wrong? And could I have prepared better? Because now I'm asking myself the question so that I can know that I don't want this thing to paralyze me, because that's one of the things that that I found, even especially in certain areas in my life, is when I've moved forward on something and I found out that it did not go according to how I've planned it, one of two things will happen. I will either act quickly and go back on it straight on, or I will pull back and I will kind of think on it, plan again and strategize. But what I do, sometimes I do it for too long. And time goes and it just goes and goes, and I say, no, I gotta fine tune that. But the good thing is, I know that, it's not in every area, but I know that in this specific couple of areas, for example, I know I need because sometimes we need to act quick. Sometimes we need to kind of like, all right, don't be too quick to act. Just kind of like, pause on certain things and think it through. It's about, I believe it's about finding the right balance, because sometimes if we move too quickly, I know some people would say, or some would say like, oh no, just move, just go. No, sometimes you just need to make sure that everything is in place. Why it's like kind of like jump. Oh, the parachute, I forgot just to put a small clip. Because some actions we take, it will cause damage, and it will take years to repair certain damages. Yeah, but some actions we take, it causes damage, but it can be fixed pretty quick. So we gotta know how to get that right. But what we don't want is to be paralyzed. What we don't want is to be stuck in fear and not moving on what it is that we're after. And I think that's where we need to kind of like get it right. Any thoughts on that, sir? I know that was a bit of a mouthful, but any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the preparation bit is also key. You can't achieve almost anything without preparing. But if things don't go according to plan, then you just take another avenue, but you still continue with getting to where you need to be, with achieving that goal. And I think as long as you keep on moving, you eventually get to achieve what you set out in the first place. It might not be the same journey that you had at first.
Yeah.
But you will get there. So besides the courage that you need up front, you also need the perseverance. And you shouldn't give up on achieving that goal, because I think it's satisfying when you achieve the goal. No matter how hard the journey was, the main thing is you achieved the goal. If you want to finish your first year within the space of 1 year, and in the case where, let's say, you fail a subject and you can't continue with the second year until you do that single subject over, you're basically spending 2 years to then get to the second year. But no matter how you achieve the goal, if you can pass all your subjects in your first year, it saves you a whole year. So your results is then not so much important as to either saving a year or wasting another year to achieve the same goal. So I think for many students, you'll find if they can just scrape over, they're quite happy. And for others who really put the effort in, and circumstances maybe came up during that, maybe illness or anything that nearly jeopardized the opportunity to finish, but they still manage to finish that year, I would think they're much more ecstatic about the result of getting through. And it must have been much harder for them to get through, knowing what they've gone through. But it's each one's personal journey, so other people might not appreciate it in the same way. But for the individual, everybody knows their journey. But the minute you get to your goal, there's that sense of relief, that sense of achievement, and you can plan new goals, and you can have the courage to do even bigger and greater things. And that's the beauty of it.
That's it.
You then build courage over time, and you do bigger and more important things that has a bigger impact. And I think the best things are in life are the things that you can invest in: your family, your kids, your wife, your in-laws, your friends, those people who are immediately around you, and then society. If you can impact other people, then that is ultimately something you can't put a price on. Because you can't even quantify it easily. But the rewards are there,
Absolutely.
The benefits are there to be shared. That's why we don't keep these things for ourselves. We let people know.
Let them know.
If we had success, can we share in that success? And if people along with experience and knowledge and sharing that, then why not do that exactly?
I like what you said on that the method, when we go on a journey, working on a specific goal, but the goal is still the same, but you might need to change the method or the different route you might have to take to get that goal achieved. And I think that in itself requires courage. You know why? Because when you set out to accomplish something and you have your mind set on this is how it's going to be done, and then suddenly you realize, oh my goodness, I was wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be done. And then you have to be courageous enough to admit to yourself, first of all, and if you are working with a team, to acknowledge to the team, listen, guys, this is not how I was wrong. Let's try a different way. The goal is still the same, but let's go a different route. And I think when you and I have that kind of a mindset, and we are flexible and willing to make changes wherever it's needed, that in itself will be a great benefit to us. But it does require courage. It does require you swallowing your don't be proud and like, no, admit, no, sorry guys, I was wrong. Let's try a different way. Even when it comes to your family, if the wife has been telling you, let's not do that, that's not how it's going to work today. I is the man of this house. This is how it's going to be done. Then you realize, sorry ma'am, I should have listened to you a long time ago. And you have to be courageous and be humble enough. You've mentioned about perseverance, and I think perseverance in itself is an attribute of courage, because to be courageous means, like, day in and day out, you just do, because just to be persevere and stay on something consistently requires courage, because sometimes it will take years for you and I to see the fruit of our labor. But if we stay on it and we stay on it, it's like, say, Kendrick, what are you working on? This is what I'm working on. But where's the results? It's coming, and you stay on it. And either watching Kendrick, what's going on, you just stay on it. You got to be courageous. And sometimes courage will make you look like a fool. Sometimes courage will make you look like you lost your mind. But I think in some cases you have to lose your mind, because if I have to follow my mind, and my mind is not in line with what it is, you're just gonna have to lose it. You just like, let me just move in the spirit here right now. I don't want to listen to my mind. Let me lose my mind, because it's important for us to sometimes do things that will look silly to other people. That will require a great amount of courage. And I believe if we just have the courage to be courageous, I don't know whether that makes sense, but have the courage to be courageous, in spite of how you feel, in spite of how it looks, in spite of the peer pressure, or the just go for it, gents. Let's just go for it, because because I believe that as men we have such a huge responsibility, and to get our own lives sorted out first. That in itself, because sometimes we know we want to fix other people, but at the end, but we can't even fix ourselves first, because growth starts with you and I. Before we can even start to impact our families, it starts with you, it starts with me, and then we can start even getting involved in our community, and in the world that we are living in. But admitting that and working on ourselves will require a tremendous amount of courage, that just move in the midst of fear. That's it.
Yeah. I think, and we do know that we're all individuals. We're all different. We've got different strengths, but you'll find if there's diversity and there's unity, you probably get a lot of expertise from that, and you can really achieve quite a lot by not just doing things on your own, but learning from others.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's right.
Does mean our individuality means we can do things in a very unique way, and that in itself is the benefit that we don't even realize many times.
Yeah.
And we still don't know our own limitations, because sometimes we surprise ourselves
Yeah.
as to what we achieve.
Yeah.
And I guess if we look back over time, everybody moves forward,
Yeah.
whether they like it or not. If it's intentional and they are courageous, they'll definitely move forward. So I think it's important to know that you don't have to feel as if you don't have the ability to do something.
Yeah.
And yes, you shouldn't be looking left and right for approvals first, because you're the person. When it comes to courage, no one else can be courageous for you. You have to step out and do it. Be courageous yourself.
Yeah.
And then you see the results, and you can build on that and work with that going forward.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, gentlemen, we are at the top of the hour. I wanna. What just came to my mind is, when Moses died, and this guy needed to take over, Joshua. The very first thing that God told him was, "You gotta be strong and you gotta be courageous. You gotta be strong and you gotta be courageous." Why is that? Because he had to be measured up with the guy that went before him. All the eyes are on him. Let's see. This is what Moses did. Let's see what you can do for us. Are you going to take us into the promised land? And I think that's where the challenge sometimes lies, is when we feel like we're not up to the task. And whenever you feel like you're not up to the task, the Jehovah, he is with you, gentlemen. He is with you. So we're going to leave you guys with that. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope that it adds some value to you. But remember, if there's anything that you've been delaying on, if there's anything that you've been procrastinating, no, let's not use procrastination. We like that fancy word. Whichever thing that has been scaring you, that thing that you've been afraid of, just go and do it. And once you kind of like walk into it and you just kind of like go for it, you will realize, oh my goodness, why did I delay on this all this time? Because it was not even a big deal. All right, gents. Sir, thank you so much for joining me. And once again, happy anniversary. All the best. Have fun, enjoy the madam, and enjoy your bubbles or whatever it is that you're gonna have. And enjoy the sun, enjoy the holiday, and I will see you when you get back. Have an amazing.
Thanks everyone.
All right, see you guys. Okay, bye. Bye.
Yes, bye.